Hello, everyone. I'm Caitlin Dudash. I'm the Executive Director of the Pet Sustainability Coalition. We're really happy to have you here today to join us for critical strategies for sustainability for retailers. And thank you so much to Pets Plus for co-hosting along with us and inviting us here to share some of the tools and resources that we have at the Pet Sustainability Coalition to really help pet retailers grow their business. We're really excited to meet with you today and to share with you some advancements in our coalition and some quick and easy ways that you can look at sustainability as an opportunity for you to drive performance for your business. We launched in 2013 with 8 founding member companies, and we now serve almost 100 companies in our own industry. Our mission is to advance business through environmental and social practices. You can see that we have brands and retailers and suppliers of all different sizes that have joined our organization. And I've taken some time, what you see in front of you today is an example of what companies have joined us that are retailers today. And we'll talk a little bit more about our membership model and how it works. We're excited to jump in and get started with you today. Let me give you just a quick rundown of how you can ask questions during the meeting today. So you all are on silent mode currently, but if you look over at your control panel on the right, you can see a chat box and a question box. So you're welcome to type in a question or a comment, and we'll make sure to leave time at the end to address those things as well. So thanks again for joining us, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So the first thing I want to talk about is that you may have noticed that there is dramatic increasing pressure for sustainability in our industry. Consumers are asking, where and how are things made? And you're not alone in this. There are 91% of pet industry professionals out there that feel that expectations for sustainable products are increasing. So it's a trend that's increasing. It's increasing rapidly. When we looked at this in 2015, it was actually about 70%. And so that really shows just in the last couple of years that there's really been an increase in this demand. So why, right? Why do we see this shift and these increasing expectations? And I want to talk about a couple of things that have been going on. I think firstly, a lot of this has to do with just the amazing increase in access to information that so many consumers have today. So if we're looking for information, we can quickly jump on our phones and access all sorts of detailed information, and we're really looking to consume information all the time. And so especially with the advancements of social media and our social media feeds, many consumers are just having a lot more insight and access to global issues that are going on. And when we look at the environmental and social issues that have been really trending and really popular and had a lot of awareness in the last couple of years, or just this year really, things like the Me Too movement on the social justice front, things around palm oil. So in the middle here, you see an image of an orangutan, and palm oil, which is used in a very large percentage of products, including in our own industry, has been linked to deforestation, which impacts orangutans and elephants. And so zoos around the country are really starting to educate consumers, in addition to just increase in coverage of these issues in our social media feeds. And then you also look at kind of plastics and issues related to the health and well-being of our oceans. And so, anything from plastic straws and having people and restaurants choosing not to have plastic straws because they impact sea turtle populations. You see a ban of plastic bags in retail fronts all over the world. And you can see an image here, just how that's shifted over the last year of plastic bans worldwide. And so with all of this change and all of this increase in access to information, these are emotionally compelling issues for a lot of humans, of everyday people. And so at this point, we see now that 89% of Americans really feel that businesses should be operating in a way that benefits society and the environment. And while this statistic is specifically focused on Americans, if you're joining us today from a European country or somewhere else around the world, we just completed an additional assessment on European consumers, and it is echoed the same statistic there as well. So we really see global consumers really looking to businesses to take the lead. So before we get too far, I wanted to take a step back just to talk about what is a sustainable business. So we talked a little bit about those environmental issues and the social issues that are really on the top of people's minds. And so sustainable businesses are those companies that are starting to address those global issues that we see. So in addition to shareholder responsibility, they're also taking responsibility to sustain the environments and the communities where they do business. And over on the right here, you see some sustainability initiatives that might be something that a sustainable business has a policy or a program around. So whether it's climate change or diversity inclusion issues or animal welfare programs or things related to their packaging or renewable energy, maybe community rights or labor rights. So these are all the types of issues that sustainable businesses are really starting to address because they have this triple bottom line management where they're looking at people, they're looking at planet, and they're looking at profit, and really putting all three of these things together in the way that they run their business. So the next thing I want to talk about is while we recognize that consumers are asking us to do this as businesses, one of the amazing things that's really shifted is that these practices, these sustainable business practices, are really good for your company as well. So when we present to all types of businesses, we talk about well-run corporate sustainability programs driving value to the box of return items on the left. So this is increased sales and bottom line savings, greater customer loyalty, higher employee productivity, reduced risk, and increased innovation. And today, since we're specifically talking with retailers, I wanted to also share with you something from the Retail Industry Leadership Association that went out and surveyed thousands of retailers and asked them, what are the primary benefits of your sustainability program? And so what you see here is when you talk to retailers, the biggest benefits that they're really seeing. So they're seeing reduced cost, brand enhancement, ability to meet regulation, an increase in employee enthusiasm, they're meeting their stakeholder demands, risk management, innovation, increasing revenue, meeting consumer demand, profits, and innovating new products and services. And what I'd like to mention here is really that I think there's been a very strong increase in this section down here around increased revenue, innovation, and customer demand. So I think just in the last 2 years, we've seen a big shift, particularly around millennials, which I'll talk a little bit more about, in their awareness and interest in purchasing sustainable products. And so since this came from 2017 and we're a couple of years further down the road, I really think we've seen an increase in this area in terms of what benefits retailers can expect as well. Now, when we first launched the Pet Sustainability Coalition in 2013, we had a very key group of about 25 studies that we really relied on to kind of show this business proof, right? Why is sustainability good for my business? But today there's over 300 peer-reviewed and very well-researched studies out there that demonstrate how sustainability really drives profitability within companies. So we're going to dive in a little bit here and talk about some of these increased sales and consumer interest and engagement around sustainability. But I just want to mention that if at any point you find yourself or think your leadership team or your employees would be interested in additional places where you might learn about these business returns, we would be happy at any point to share that more with your company. All right, so I mentioned we were going to talk about millennials. So millennials, as you probably know, became the largest living generation in the US, and they're also the largest pet owning generation. So this means that it's a very key demographic for our industry, and particularly for retailers who interact with these shoppers on a day-to-day basis. So what we know about them is that 90% of them are actually willing to pay more for sustainable products. This is also something new. Generations before really talked about valuing sustainability, but when it came to actually paying for them, we didn't often see that value translated to being willing to pay more. But there's new evidence out now that millennials are actually willing to pay more, and they care more about the environment and communities than ever before. Again, related to feeling more connected and aware of global issues around us. And they have a really key expectation that businesses should be operating in this way. They should be addressing global issues that we're all facing, that businesses are a key part to become the future that we all want. And I wanted to share this. This shows a little bit about the different generations and what we could expect from each of them. And you can see here, when you ask them, is sustainability corporate sustainability, specifically companies that are implementing sustainability, is that extremely or very important to you as a consumer? And here you can see the largest sector that responded positively to that question are millennials, which are 21 to 34, and that's 85% of them. You can see it's important to almost all the other generations as well, but millennials are definitely leading this conversation currently. All right, so what else do we know about these shoppers, right? So let's say we get these consumers that are really looking for more purpose-aligned products that are driving sustainability. So we already know that Americans feel that businesses should be addressing this, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about what we have to gain. So trust and loyalty. 79% of consumers say that they'd be more loyal to a purpose-driven company. So this means that they're willing to try new products, because if they are really a diehard fan of your brand, then they're going to try new products as well. So if you carry products that consumers feel loyal around, they're more likely to visit and to frequent your store as well. They're also active and innovative. So consumers are likely to promote those purpose-driven brands and share them with their friends and through their social networks. And an interesting piece, by the same token that they're willing to promote you, also, they're willing to boycott a company if they really learned that there are deceptive practices going on. So they're really active in both directions. And then finally, going back to that willingness to pay piece again, but that millennials really are showing their values with their wallet when they reach the store and are paying more for more sustainable products. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about top-line growth that a lot of companies are seeing when they're focusing on more sustainable products. First of all, I think it's important to note that consumers now have a perception that sustainable products are really higher quality and they perform better. And this is a shift, right? So maybe 15 years ago, we thought, hey, if I choose the sustainable coffee cup, I might end up with coffee all over myself. But that's really shifted. So we now see, and I think this is, thanks to some amazing brands out there like Patagonia, who have really shown quality and durability that comes with sustainable products. And so we've really shifted that perception among the consumer base, which does lead to that willingness to pay more, but it also leads to growth in those categories. So here this shows you 3 different product categories, whether it's chocolate, coffee, or bath products. In the left side, we see their growth of just kind of your standard products. So these are traditional products that don't have any sustainability related to them. And you see a 5% growth in chocolate, a negative 1% growth or loss in coffee, and then a 1% growth in bath products for an overall category growth for those traditional products at 2%. And then if you look at the sustainable products and the growth that they've had, in chocolate, you see 16%. In coffee, you see a positive plus 1%, and in bath, 14% growth. All of that growth certainly outpacing the traditional products there, with a total weighted average of 5%. So we really see, and certainly in the pet industry, this is modeled as well, that there's a lot of growth, a lot of consumers really looking for these sustainable products, and then actually going out and purchasing them. So this is, real sales data that help to demonstrate this shift in the consumer preference. I think if we dig a little further into that, the Nielsen released a report. It's called What's Sustainability Got to Do with Sales? And we have this available in our toolkit for download. But what they did is they looked at 20 different categories, 9 different countries. What they were able to show is that there was an average of a 2% sales increase for products that had sustainability claims on their packaging, and a 5% bump for products whose marketing promoted sustainability. So not just having it on their package, but also taking the time to actually promote the sustainability elements of their product as well. And that's different from products who don't do either of those things. That really just showed a 1% increase in sales. So very similar data that's coming out and showing kind of growth in this category. So I want to talk a little bit about what are 5 quick wins, when it comes to sustainability. Let's say you're a retailer, you say, hey, this information sounds great. What are 5 quick things that I could do, today that would help me improve my own sustainability and start to realize some of these business benefits? So I want to touch on 4 today, and I'm going to talk about the tools and resources that our coalition provides to the industry. And then we're going to take a deeper dive into one of these categories. So measure what matters, right? So when I talk about measuring what matters, what I mean is using our quick impact assessment. So getting a baseline and a benchmark. Where am I today? What is my performance? What could I gain? What should I be addressing? And so we have a quick impact assessment that takes 1 hour to complete. It doesn't cost anything for you to complete, and it helps you, again, just to baseline and benchmark where you are today. So that's one option. Another option would be for you to consider a building audit. So all retailers generally have, unless you're just an e-commerce retailer, but then you probably still have a warehouse or a distribution center or just a storefront, but you have a building footprint. And so there's an opportunity for you to look at, what is the use of my building of things like energy and water and waste, and how could I improve the efficiency of those things to really drive some bottom line savings that I could invest in other needed areas of my business. So you could find a local auditing agency that could do that for you. I'm going to talk about a PSC tool that we have available, again, completely free and available for you to download that you can use it well, use anytime for yourself. But if you looked at a local auditing agency, you might expect to spend maybe between $200 and $500 for that audit. Now I'm going to go over to the employee engagement section. So another thing you could do is start to engage your employees. So one of the first steps that we recommend is doing an employee survey. Again, this might take you 3 hours, maybe an hour to customize your assessment, an hour to send it out to all of your colleagues, and then maybe an hour to analyze the results. Again, through our employee survey, we have a template ready to go for you. It doesn't cost you anything. And at the end of that, you'd have some sense of, hey, what do my employees care about? How can I engage them best? And what are some ways that they'd like to be engaged in sustainability? So those are 3 quick ways that you can look at sustainability. And the last one here is really around meeting consumer demand. So what we're suggesting is that you might want to consider expanding your product portfolio to include more sustainable products to really meet this increasing demand from consumers. Now, the time might be variable. It really depends. If you spend 1 hour looking at sustainable products or 15 or 20 and really looking at your product strategy, it's really variable depending on how deep you want to get into it. It doesn't cost you anything, right, to just kind of review, hey, what are the sustainability claims of the products that we're carrying, and do we feel proud of those things? Are we meeting consumer demand? But the whole goal here is really to increase the number of purpose-driven products that you carry and then to market them accurately. So today we're actually going to spend a fair amount of time talking about that. But first, let me just give you a quick way to download the tools in the other sections as well. So I mentioned measure what matters. I think it's important to know that I mentioned 90% of pet industry professionals feel that sustainability is increasing. At the same time, only 22% of professionals rank their own program as effective. So you can get started on your quick impact assessment today by simply going to the website down on the bottom left-hand corner. My colleague Andrea is also going to put that in the chat box so that you can easily access it if you think it's something that your company is ready for. But that's petsustainability.org/QIA for quick impact assessment. That is ready and available for you. When it comes to engaging employees, again, going back to that survey, you can evaluate your employee knowledge, interest, and barriers around sustainability. We have it available in English and Spanish, 100% free and available for download. And you can visit our toolkit, which has lots of tools and resources and templates available for everybody in our industry in 6 key sustainability categories. But if you visit petsustainability.org/toolkit landing page, you can then go to employee engagement and find this employee survey. If you're interested in reducing your footprint, we have a tool called the Building Self-Assessment that is available. You could also find a local partner that you wanted to come in and do an audit, but this would help you identify your opportunity for financial savings through those efficiency improvements. So again, going to our toolkit there at petsustainability.org/toolkit landing page, and you'll be able to find that under our operations tab. Now, finally, we're going to spend some time focusing on this, which is how do you meet consumer demand by expanding your product portfolio to include sustainable products? So I'm proud to announce that we have a new program here called the Positive Impact Program, And it really helps you as a retailer find those leading industry brands that are actively driving positive impact for pets, people, and the planet. So let's talk a little bit about that. First, what I want to say, because all of you retailers here are really in this incredible position of leverage, and your product choices really matter. So the graph that you see here is in gray on the left there is the quantity of companies in the different places along the supply chain. So you've got consumers at the top, right? And there's 7 billion and growing of those. Then you've got all the companies in the supply chain, right? So you've got retailers at the top there, then you've got brands and manufacturers and traders and processors, and then all the way at the bottom you have those primary producers and extractors. So retailers play a very important role in connecting all of this supply chain to consumers. And we really have a lot of leverage when it comes to educating consumers, getting them the products that they want, and really encouraging brands, manufacturers, and primary producers to make more sustainable choices. So because retailers play such a critical role, we are trying to start a new opportunity for retailers to really engage in this movement. For the last 6 years, we've been working primarily with brands and manufacturers as well as suppliers. And we're really expanding our reach this year and next year to start focusing on bringing retailers into this movement and helping them leverage their business as a platform for positive change. So as a retailer, ask questions. Choose meaningful products. And I know that's not easy. So we know evaluating all of these sustainability claims is becoming increasingly difficult. We've had so much growth in our industry around the natural category. And so if you're lucky, you get to see certifications, and certifications help to tell you that there are standards behind the claims that companies are making. So you see a bunch of those kind of over here on the right. There are thousands of them. And that's a great scenario. But a lot of times we end up with terminology, things like, hey, our product is eco-friendly or natural or sustainable or green or biodegradable. There's lots of different terms that are being used, and so we know that it's not easy. If you look at UL, they talked about the signs or the sins of greenwashing, and they did a study, and this was quite a while ago. This was in 2010, so this is 9 years ago, and I'm happy to say, according to our research, it has improved. But we're looking, at a sad scenario in that 95% of consumer products claiming to be green were found to commit at least one of the sins of greenwashing, is what they call them. So I'm going to talk about 3 sins of greenwashing, and then talk a little bit about what we can do about it. So the first one is called the sin of vagueness, right? So this is just kind of a claim that's kind of poorly defined. So maybe they call themselves all natural, but they're not really clear on what that means or how exactly it makes their product sustainable. The next one is the sin of the hidden trade-off, where they suggest to you that maybe paper is more valuable than plastic because it's a renewable resource, but they haven't actually gone through and looked at the comparative actual impact of the product that they're talking about. Or maybe it's the sin of worshiping false labels, right? So this is where a product, maybe they made up their own labeling system that looks like a sustainability certification, but there isn't really any third-party audit or system behind that. So there are a lot of times that companies use this with completely good intentions. They have worked really hard in their business and are really committed, and their mission is aligned with sustainability. And so a lot of times these things don't happen intentionally at all. It's just really that the pet industry hasn't taken a lot of steps toward identifying and measuring, what does sustainability mean? How do we measure it? And that's really the heart and soul of the Pet Sustainability Coalition and this Positive Impact Program. So that's why we are announcing the advancement of the Positive Impact Program, which is an accreditation program, and it invites all companies to participate in a better future for pets, people, and planet. So I want to talk about, we're really proud we have about 40 companies that are participating in this. And what does it mean, right? What does it mean to be a brand or a supplier that's a part of this program? So there's 2 really unique factors that sets this community apart. So the first is that they have a verified measurement of how their business is affecting the communities and the environment where they do business. And the second piece is that they have demonstrated improvement year after year. So wherever their starting place is, that they're continuing to work as a business to improve that in a really measurable way. So I want to go back and talk a little bit about measurement and how do you measure sustainability. And what we do is we have partnered with B Lab, which is the nonprofit behind the B Corp certification, which you see in the bottom right-hand corner. And this shows you some of those incredible brands that have reached this top tier of certification of performance using their impact assessment. It's globally recognized. Over 50,000 companies have taken this assessment, so there's an enormous set of database. It's updated every 3 years so that it's progressively getting harder and harder and shifting as we learn more and more and technology advances. But companies who have received this certification might be companies like Patagonia or New Belgium Brewery, Seventh Generation, Cabot, Ben & Jerry's. Those might be a few that you know. And what we've done is we've taken a smaller version of that assessment and made it available to our industry so that companies can come in and benchmark their performance in 4 key impact areas. So they're answering questions related to their impact on the environment, on communities, on their workers, and even on their governance or the transparency inside their business and what their leadership looks like. So it's a comprehensive assessment that companies are taking, and each year they take it and demonstrate that improvement. And they work with our organization to help chart a path for improvement and actually to implement sustainable business strategies. So we've also realized that it's really hard for retailers. So it's hard to know which certifications and which claims are recognizable or legitimate or authentic. And then it's kind of difficult to know what's the most important, right? So we have seen incredible claims and incredible strategies from so many companies, and they're variable, right? Some companies are more passionate about different pieces of sustainability. So some companies might say that their product is recyclable, and not just say it, right? Maybe their product is recyclable. Maybe they're using all certified sustainable ingredients, or their product is made by women in Africa. Or conversely, maybe it's made in the USA. Maybe they're promoting female leadership inside their business, or taking 10% of their sales and giving it away to animal shelters. Maybe they're paying a living wage to all of their employees, or they're using local ingredients. Maybe they're using organic materials and ingredients. Maybe it's made from recycled bottles, or they're giving hard to employ people jobs. All of these are such incredible ways for businesses to be driving positive impact. And as a retailer, how do you know, right? Like, is organic more important than, certified animal welfare standards? Or is it more important for it to be recyclable, or for 10% of their proceeds to go to shelters? All of these are really difficult decisions to make. And that's why at the Positive Impact Program, we've really allowed companies to take whatever approach that they want to take for sustainability that makes sense for their business, that resonates with their employees and their leadership team and who they stand for as a brand, and work on improving all of these different pieces. So each of these things really fits into a different section of the impact assessment. And so it's a way for companies, regardless of what their focus on sustainability is, to really come into this community, chart a path for improvement, and gain recognition for the work that they're doing. All right, so before I move on too much further, I also want to say what the program isn't, right? So it is a verified company improvement. So companies who are doing this are actually verifying on an annual basis that their company has made an improvement. But it's not a minimum performance standard. So I want to explain this because it is a little different, right? So if you have an organic certification, you know that 99% of the ingredients in there have been certified organic. And we aren't setting a minimum standard. The minimum standard is really that companies continue to progress, that we're all in this movement together, that we're all committed to improvement. Now, this is an industry recognition program. So that means it's connecting retailers and brands and manufacturers and suppliers around sustainable business practices, but it's not a consumer-facing label. So you're not going to see this label on packaging. It's not something that brands will be able to put on the outside of their packaging in order to inform consumers. So really right now, this program is really focused on driving bringing together these different communities inside of our own industry to connect them around a shared mission for driving positive impact. All right, so we're really proud to announce that we have about 40 companies who have just completed their verification and have updated their quick impact assessment just this year. Our deadline was just on July 15th, so it's a pretty exciting announcement for us. And so we're excited to show you that these are our positive impact community companies that have joined us this year. Any company can join through the entire year and take their quick impact assessment and start participating with us at any time. But as we head into Super Zoo, we'll be carrying these companies along with us as this incredible community that we're going to help promote and inform retailers about as well. So 2 upcoming opportunities that I think will be important for retailers to take advantage of now. So one of the exciting things that we're releasing along with our partners at Pets Plus is our Positive Impact Coupon Book. Right now, you can sign in and get pre-registered for this coupon book, which are discounts on our Positive Impact community for retailers to place orders. You can do that through the link that's listed here. And again, Andrea will send this out through the chat box so that you can get registered for it. And it will be live the entire month of August. So you can claim those rebates and discounts in the month of August. Whether you're going to Super Zoo or not, you can access those all digitally online. And keep an eye out for that Pets Plus July magazine. Well, there'll be a full 2-page spread on this issue as well. Sorry, the August issue, not the July issue. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that we have a new Positive Impact product kiosk, which is booth number 5000 at Super Zoo. We are partnered with the World Pet Association with this program, and they have given us the opportunity to interact more with retailers around what these companies are doing. What are these meaningful stories of impact around environment and community that we can share? And also, how can we educate retailers about unique ways to merchandise more purpose-driven products? So be sure to stop by our booth number 5000 if you're attending Super Zoo as well. All right, so we're almost wrapping up, and I'm going to leave lots of time for questions and answers. But I wanted to give you 3 easy steps that you can take after today's meeting to join the movement. So the first thing is that you can sign up for our newsletter and follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So this means it's not just a webinar that you jump into and remember that, oh, this is something we want to get involved in. But I think by joining our newsletter and also following us on social media, you're going to get these stories. You're going to constantly be reminded that this is a value that's important to you, and there are companies who are doing incredible things. So you get the excitement of kind of joining them on their impact journey and learning more about the people's lives that are improving and the pets that are improving and the environments around the world that are improving through this program. At step 2, another thing you can do is you can explore our positive impact brands and consider adding them to your product portfolio. A couple of ways you can do that. You can reach out to us and ask for an introduction to any of those companies. You can reach out directly to them and mention that you know that they're a part of the program. You can download our coupon book and start there, or you can visit any of the participating booths at Super Zoo. Step 3 is to join PSC. So when we talked about all of those incredible tools and resources, whether it's engaging your employees or taking our quick impact assessment or doing a building energy audit to get some financial savings, you can join PSC for all of those things. You can use our tools and resources in our toolkit. As a nonprofit, we're committed to providing resources to any company who's interested in sustainability, but all of these tools are funded by our membership base. And so we also really encourage you to consider joining, working with our team to chart a path that really drives profitable performance. Not all sustainability programs are easy or simple, and so we can really be a resource to you to really support and guide that process so that it can be most effective to your business. All right, so you can also see my contact information down there on the bottom right. I'm Caitlin Dudash, the Executive Director and Co-Founder here at the Pet Sustainability Coalition. You can reach me at cbolton@petsustainability.org. And now I think I'll take a little bit of a break and check our chat line. So if you have any questions today about what we've gone over, This is just the first part of a two-part series. And so next time we'll be focusing on employee engagement and how you can really engage millennial employees and retain and attract top talent through a sustainability program. But that concludes our content for today. So I'm just gonna pause for a moment and see if there's additional questions. I'll add, we have a couple of events at Super Zoo if that's something that interests you. So upcoming, we have our semi-annual event, which is taking place at 4 p.m. On August 21st at the, I believe it is 4601 is the booth number, which is down where the educational series are happening on the Super Zoo trade floor. And we're going to be announcing a specific retailer partnership that we're just launching, which we're really excited about. So you're welcome to join us there. We'll have food and beverages. It's a great way to network with our community. That does sell out, so we do encourage you to register if you'd like to attend. And registration is up on our trade show events page on our website. And we also have a retailer education session at WPA in the Seascape Ballroom at 9:30 a.m. On Wednesday, August 21st as well. You can register for that through the Super Zoo website if you're interested in attending that as well.
This is Andrea jumping on. We seem to have a question asking what kinds of brands are within the positive impact community?
Sure. So why don't I just move our slides back here to show who those brands are. All right, so here you can see the types of companies that we're working with, and it really is an open model. So any company can choose to participate with us, whether they're a small or a large company, whether they create hard goods or pet supplies, or if they're a food and treat supplier, or even if they're a service-based company. So what you see here is a large variety of all of those things, right? We have companies who are producing food and treats. We have suppliers on this list as well. We have European-based companies. We are an international organization, and we also have companies here in the US. So we really encourage all companies of all types to participate, even if retailers want to get involved and start measuring their impact in making an improvement. They can also participate in this program and get some of our great communications and promotional benefits as they start to demonstrate that improvement once they complete that assessment and show some improvement.
Alrighty, we have another question asking, how would a retailer show customers that they're participating in the program? Is there something that they could put into their stores or hand out?
Sure, great question. So we are right now in the process of establishing what the positive impact program looks like for retailers themselves. We have been in a beta testing period right now that we launched just after Global Pet in April, where we invited retailers to come and work with us on building what does that benefits program really look like for retailers. So right now, the leading ideas related to that include in-store decals and signage so that you really can start informing customers about these different products and your participation in the program. And, you know, also things like quarterly leaflets that tell some of these stories that you can put into their customer bags. We're also looking at regular education for your retail associates so that they're educated and informed on some of the stories that consumers want to hear around these brands. And so having a regular opportunity to provide your employees with that training around sustainability and around some of the brands that are participating and even around your own sustainability program. So that's an example of some of the ways that we are innovating a whole program for retailers to participate in beyond integrating this into their product portfolio, but also really signing on as a retailer partner for this program. We expect to launch that in early 2020. And if you have feedback or want to join our beta program in which you give us additional feedback as we're developing that program, you can absolutely reach out to us. I'll go back to our contact slide, and we would be happy to involve you in that process.
All right, our next question is from Jennifer Reeder. Thank you so much. She asks, can a company in the Caribbean participate in the program?
Sure. So one of the amazing things about our quick impact assessment being a third-party assessment is that it is available in all languages. So depending on who in your team is going to be filling that out, but you can access it and use it from anywhere in the world. It is a globally recognized quick impact assessment. So yes, any company around the world can participate. I will just note that as being based in the US, that sometimes our webinars and our events tend to be more based here in the US, along with InterZoo and SuperZoo in Europe, and that we don't currently do a lot of travel to other parts of the world, but the resources and tools that we have are web-based and available in all languages. All right, it looks like we may have come to the end of our question and answer session here. So thank you everybody for participating and gathering information on the amazing work that all of the companies that are participating with us are doing. As a nonprofit, we really rely on the hard work of these member companies to make these decisions that really impact the environments and communities where we do business. So thank you to all of our member companies and thank you to all the retailers who took some time out of your busy day. I know it's difficult and you've got a lot of work to be done. So thank you for spending some time with us today. We hope to see you at SuperZoo, and please reach out to us at any time.